We are making some amazing progress. I'm really happy that they paired us together to work on this project. Next, we need to provide management with basic information about the Kevin Cookie Company products, like how much the chocolate chip cookie costs. I know you would think they would know that information, but they don't always know that. And to help us with this, we're going to use lookup functions. These are some of the most popular functions that you'll likely end up using all the time in Excel. Let's now move on to the worksheet titled Lookup Functions, and I want to make it as easy as possible for management to look up information about our various products that we sell here. Now, here I need to provide the price of a chocolate chip cookie. Now, here I could look in this table and I see that it's 10. But I want to make this dynamic so management could come in and maybe they want to know the price of a chocolate chip cookie or maybe a sugar cookie. So if they change this here, I want it to reflect the price of the item that they're looking for. And to do this, we are going to use one of the most popular functions in Microsoft Excel called VLOOKUP. That stands for vertical lookup. To use VLOOKUP, we could click on the Formulas tab up on top, and here we could insert a function. Once again, we could press Shift F3, or we could also press this icon right here. This does the exact same thing. And when we click on that, here it allows us to look for the function. Let's type in VLOOKUP and then click on Go. And here, let's select this option and then click on OK. To use VLOOKUP, by far the easiest way to get started is to use the Insert Function Helper. Once again, we could go up to the top tabs, click on Formulas, and then here we could insert a function. Once again, we could also press the Shift key together with the Function 3 key, or as an alternative, and we haven't done this yet, we could also insert a function by clicking on this icon right by the formula bar. Let's click on this. Here it asks me what function I would like to use. Let's type in VLOOKUP and then click on Go. And here I see the VLOOKUP function. Once again, we see a description of what it does. Let's click on OK. This opens up the function arguments, and let's move this up to the top so we can see all the arguments alongside our worksheet. And right here, once again, we could read what this function does. You can take a look at that, but it's going to look up a value in a table. Right down below, once again, when I click into these various arguments, you'll see a description of what it's looking for that argument. Now, first it asks for the lookup value. I want to know the price of a chocolate chip cookie, so I want to look up chocolate chip cookie. I'll select this cell right here as a lookup value. Next, it asks me for the table array. So where do I want to look up the price for a chocolate chip cookie? Well, I want to look it up over in this table. Here I could select this entire table. Now, one thing to call out with VLOOKUP, I'm looking for chocolate chip in this table. The value that I'm looking for has to be the leftmost column in the table. So you'll just have to keep that in mind as you structure your table. Next, it asks me for the column index number. Once it finds chocolate chip, then what column do I want to get back? Now, I want to know the price, and in this table, the price is the second column. Here, I'll type in a 2. Last, it also asks me for the range lookup. But one thing is, when you look at these different argument names, you'll notice that some of them are bold, and range lookup is not bold. The bold parameters or arguments are required, so you have to enter in a value here. But this one's not bold, so it's not required, so you don't have to enter anything in. If we don't enter anything in, it'll do a closest match, and we'll come back to what that means. Here we can already see the results of the VLOOKUP. Here the price of chocolate chip is 10, and here it's giving us a 10 back. Let's click on OK. And there we see the price of a chocolate chip cookie. The neat thing about using VLOOKUP is we can now change the cookie type up here. Now, instead of chocolate chip, maybe management says, well, what's the price of a sugar cookie? Here I can type in sugar cookie, hit enter, and this updates and shows us the price of 5. So this is fully dynamic. You can enter any cookie name in here and you'll get the associated price back. Now, if you remember, when we were entering in VLOOKUP, there was an optional parameter at the end called the range lookup. So what if I try typing in, let's say, a Kevin cookie? Let's see what happens. Here it gives me back the price of 10, but when we look in this table, there's no cookie with the name Kevin. So why are we getting a 10 back? Well, here it looks at all the different cookie names. First, it sees chocolate chip, and a K comes later in the alphabet than a C. So then it looks at oatmeal raisin, and an O comes after K in the alphabet. So then it falls back to this price right here. So let's go back into VLOOKUP and see how we could set it so we don't get a price back if it doesn't find a match. I'll click on insert function again, and we can now modify the function. This once again opens up the function arguments, and here we have that optional parameter called range lookup. And since we didn't enter anything in, it allows for partial matches. So once again, when I type in Kevin Cookie, it'll find the closest match and return a value. But let's say I only want exact matches. So if it doesn't find Kevin Cookie, I'll just get an error back. I'll type in false for this optional parameter and then click on OK. And here I get an NA back. And the reason why is there is no Kevin Cookie in this list. Here I could change it to, let's say, oatmeal raisin, and that is in the list, so here I get 8 back. So if you only want exact matches, then it makes sense to use that optional parameter.